As you may see, fin is ready to put the patch of carbon fiber on it. I scraped all the clear coat from both sides and all over, and I have a piece of spread tow here, which is, as you may see, sticky because I sprayed some of 3M77 on this side, and I'm gonna be applying it now. And this side is ready too. I got some laminating epoxy here. I'm just gonna apply gently. If you have a glass tails, these are glass, I would suggest piece of glass for securing, but since here I have a carbon tails, I'm gonna use a carbon to secure the carbon. It just makes sense to keep true to the existing materials instead of mixing patches of carbon on glass or patches of glass on carbon. That doesn't really work well. I'll let that sit for a little while, and then I'll come back with the paper towel and scoop up all the excess. Now I'm gonna mix some cotton flocks with laminating epoxy. This is just a corner of the plastic baggie that I trimmed, so I have a nice bag to pipe in all the epoxy into the tail, into the hard spot in the anchors. If you have micro balloons, you can add probably them a little bit more. I just want to make sure that that's gonna be liquid enough so I can pipe that inside. Okay, yeah, you see, that's a very comfortable way of mixing. It's thick enough to be structural, but at the same time is runny enough to be piped inside the cavities that we created for the hard points. Now what you want to do, you want to trim the very tip of it. If you cut like 1/16 of an inch, you're gonna get a huge hole and everything's gonna run out, and no benefit for us. So just a tiny little bit on the tip. Up, there it goes. Maybe a little bigger. Alright, let's do that. I will lift all tail assembly up now. Stick the corner of my baggie on one side and let the epoxy run and fill the inside, and I do the same thing here. I need a big. That's almost filled. That's almost filled. And I see I did a little build up on the outside here, but still this spot is open and there is opening for the air. Now using something for a pock, distributing this epoxy on the inside. And there we go, and we have a gap here. See? I just pushed a bunch of epoxy in the cavity that I wasn't aware of, wasn't filled. Let me add a little more here. It's always good to have more and then wipe it off than not enough and have a hard point that has air bubbles in it. Okay, I think that's more than we need. I'll squeeze my V-mount a little bit so it goes into those openings, both sides. Perfect. That's a unnecessary weight. Pay extra attention to the inside of those anchors because that's where the V is mounted now. And if you leave a big blob of epoxy on the inside, that will glue the V to the stop and everything will be bind all together. I just simply clean up here. The whole horizontal mounting was quite easy. It's just, you know, do the fitting, glue the V to the boom using CA, and then make 2 hard points. That's basically it. I'm gonna remove the excess epoxy. You can see the carbon patch really soaked up. It was really shiny when I was applying, and now there is barely any excess left on top. And I'm gonna pick all that up. These are beds from the fin. You get all your flying surfaces in the beds. Use those pieces to hold down this patch of carbon to have a nice and smooth surface. You can just snap them in half, and if you just use a little bit of 3M77 glue on the inside, you can glue them back. I'm gonna use a piece of polyethylene foil. You can use a wax paper or whatever will prevent the adhesion. Everything is nicely tucked in place. Ring clamp, and I clamp that down right here. And I'll finish this up with the foam, just like I did with the bottom part of the fin, and put a clamp on it. That's it. Now we'll wait overnight. With this next day, everything looks good to me. Remove those clamps. This came out gorgeous, and it looks like it's oversaturated with epoxy, but it really isn't. Look at that smooth finish. I love that. Let's get the tape off. The other side. Ugh, looks very stiff. Yeah, it's freed up. It's a very nice and clean install. Boom.